oh my God, so much is happening. And when it ends, you're just like, that's it? What?
Drive-by movies, you're watching
Fresh Releases.
My name's Blaise.
And I am James.
And this week, we're talking the brand new film, Last Stop in Yuma County.
Last Stop in Yuma County stars Jim Cummings, and in this movie, he is stranded in a rural Arizona rest stop as a traveling salesman, and he is thrust into a dire hostage situation by the arrival of two bank robbers with no qualms about using cruelty or cold hard steel to protect their bloodstained fortune. So this comes from director, Francis Galuppi. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that 100% correct, but I found out about this movie about a month ago when he was announced as the director of making a spin-off Evil Dead movie, as well as another director of the French film called Infested, that's also available to watch on Shudder. So we're getting two Evil Dead movies, and this one kind of stands out more because this is not a horror film, and this is a feature-length directorial debut. So, but Blaise, you wanted to review it though. Like, how'd you come about finding out about this movie?
I think, like all great things, I just found out about it on Letterboxd, maybe just scrolling around, seeing what people are watching, and then this popped up, and then I was like, oh, Jim Cummings, and then I was like, oh, and then I saw a bunch of other actors where I'm like, oh, this is a very interesting cast. You got a rich amount of character actors, and then a lot of indie darlings. So I definitely wanted to check it out, and then also it had a bunch of great reviews, so I figured why not. And I have to say that I'm pleasantly surprised. This was a really delightful little film. It had little twists and turns, going here and there, and it was, all shot in one location. It had a lot of tropes where you'd find like a first-time director would kind of, map their movie around this, like set it all in one location, not too complicated and stuff. But I felt like he did a really great job, and I'm definitely interested in checking out more of his work later down the road. But yeah, I thought that this was pretty impressive for a first-time feature director, and also it was just a tight-knit little film. It's only clocks in about 91 minutes, and it was very enjoyable, and just delightful watch.
Yeah, I'm excited to give Jim Cummings another shot, just because the only film I've seen him in was I've seen him in a couple like small roles, like some people might bring up like Halloween Kills. He has a very small role in that movie. But the only movie where I've seen him like write and direct is Wolf of Hollow Snow. We didn't give it the best review, but we still enjoyed it when we checked it out here on the show. But I know that a lot of people love a lot of his work, so it's something I've been wanting. I've been meaning to dig deeper into his work, just because always looking for that new person to like kind of take over that like Mark Duplass style of just indie filmmaking, of writing and directing and starring in your own projects. So even though in this movie I'm not sure if he had any producer credits or anything, but I know that he had nothing to do with the writing or directing within the movie. And he's fantastic in this movie, yet he's still not even the main character. What I mainly applaud with this movie is just the clever script and just making it to where all you need is one location, easy area to film in. And as someone who's traveled across the country, it is really scary seeing that sign that says last gas station for miles and stuff too. I remember when I was traveling across the country, I had just barely made it into California, and there was a stop, the gas station, where it was $8 a gallon and it said no gas for 70 miles. Like, damn it, I'm like stuck having to pay $8 a gallon here. So little things like that like can be frustrating, but not as frustrating as what these bank robbers are going through, or even Jim Cummings' character. But loved seeing a lot of the cast too, like just a lot of good indie darlings, whether or not it's the killer from Barbarian, he's in this movie, Jocelyn Donahue, which we love from House of the Devil and everything. But fun little movie that has a lot to say, does a lot, but also not really a whole lot happens, without spoiling too much. But
Yeah, I would say that this was kind of a surprise. This felt like it would be really good at festivals, but I feel like that actually translated well at home, because I do feel like that happens often where there's like a good festival movie, has a ton of festival buzz, and then once you watch it at home, you're like, oh, this didn't really hit. But maybe, you know, amongst people watching a bunch of other films, this would stand out. But, you know, stand alone at home or in the theaters, it maybe doesn't, you know, stand up to, you know, that festival buzz. But this one I felt like does. It was just such tight writing, like you said. Really, the story kept you kind of, you know, they would show little things, then it would pop up, and then you're like, okay, I saw that coming, you know. But it was fun. But yeah, the cast was great. I thought Faizon Love was awesome in his little role. Pretty much everyone you've seen in something. The older couple, like those two actors, I forget their names, but I've seen them in so many movies. I'm sure if you pull up their IMDb, they probably have hundreds of projects. And yeah, I felt like this was kind of it felt like an older school movie, especially the setting, you know, the setting and the place, especially. It felt a little bit more older school than stuff you get now, but it felt timeless at the same time.
Yeah, with the use of like no cell phones within this movie, like great way to help support, like just make this movie, you could say it takes place 20 years from now, and just like no reception out in Yuma County, just because there isn't really reception out in those kind of areas. And then, or just like, you know, easily could have take place in the 80s. Like, you know, this movie actually would also be another fun pairing with Strange Darling, where just like a lot of murders and death happens, but like you're just like, what is happening? Like you're thrown in. Like I would hate being a fly in the wall and just trying to understand what happened within this movie or that movie. And also funny with you bring up just like this movie has everyone in that movie that you've seen. Like even the couple with the baby that just shows up. I was like, oh, that guy. I haven't seen that guy in a while. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the actor's name, but he's been in movies like Not Another Teen Movie, as well as Fanboys and countless other movies. But yeah, it's just overall just like a really fun, solid script, and definitely agree with the you had to be there moments with certain movies at film festivals. Like I know Split was such a huge deal when it premiered at Fantastic Fest, and you know I could see why with the ending just being with a bunch of film lovers. You're watching a movie and then out of nowhere you find out it's a out of nowhere unbreakable unofficial sequel and stuff. Like I can imagine people losing their minds, but when you watch it in theaters normally, I was just like, okay, 20 years too late or whatever. But even the VHS films I love, but like you had to be there to watch them at festivals to make them much more fun, I feel like. And this one still though worked on its own. Like I know this also played at Fantastic Fest last year, if I'm not mistaken, or one of those like fun popular fests like South by Southwest or Toronto Film Festival. But this is a fun movie to watch just on my own too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, did you stop in Yuma when you were on your travels?
I don't know if it's a real place or not.
There. No, Yuma is definitely a real place. Yuma, Arizona.
Okay, it is. All right. Yeah. Sorry for any Yuma watchers or listeners here. Me not acknowledging that you exist. Didn't mean that, but I drove through so many towns and states that like it's hard to remember. A lot come off as a blur. But I did drive through Arizona. I stayed in a town about like probably 100 miles east of Flagstaff. Flagstaff isn't a huge city in Arizona, but it's a city. I forgot the name of the town I stayed in, but it had a really like interesting name. It definitely wasn't Yuma though. But yeah, I probably drove through it at some point though, I feel like.
Definitely. Yeah, I would say like if you have the ability to check this movie out, I think it's definitely available to rent. It's not on streaming yet, but if it does pop up, or maybe if you're feeling so inclined, this is definitely a really enjoyable watch, so you could check it out easily on streaming. It's kind of hard to talk about this movie without going like deep into spoilers, but just saying that I think it's a great, like it has fun elements of dark comedy and kind of a little bit of that quirky indie vibe, but overall it's just like a really tight, neat little picture.
Yeah, like you know, I can see the ending like kind of like annoying some casual film goers. But this isn't a movie that I think a casual film goer would ever just like stream on their own and everything. But yeah, I highly recommend renting it out. And when it hits streaming, though, definitely check it out, because this is the kind of movie that'll as you watch, you're like, oh my God, so much is happening. And when it ends, you're just like, that's it? What? That's how it ends? Like, it's very much that style movie. But, you know, see it for yourself. Let us know what you thought about in the comments below, because that's a great way to help support, as well as watching it through our Amazon affiliate link in our description box below.
And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and click that notification bell to get all released updates.
And speaking of updates, be sure to catch all our social media links down below. We got Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, also our own personal Letterboxd accounts. So that'll conclude this week's episode. To next week for a brand new video.